President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. delivers his second State of the Nation address.
The president highlights the one-year progress of his leadership. More details on this later in the news. Good evening, I am Gianna Llanes.
I am Nina Richie Yalago Flores. This is Mata ng Agila International. Now for the headlines. DICT reminds the public of the SIM card registration deadline. Pag-asa forecasts Typhoon Doksuri to develop into a super typhoon. Join us as we recap President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s State of the Nation. DICT reminds the public of the SIM card registration deadline. Pag-asa forecasts Typhoon Doksuri to develop into a super typhoon. Join us as we recap President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s State of the Nation address. Spain's parliament is left divided after Partido Popular falls short of a parliamentary majority. And let's look into the weekend's biggest winners in the world of sports. A transport group kicks off its three-day strike amid President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s State of the Nation address. Manibela Group claims that at least 40,000 jeepney drivers in Metro Manila and at least 200,000 nationwide will participate in their transport strike. Meanwhile, the president issued the Memorandum Circular Number 25, suspending classes in all levels as well as work in government offices in Metro Manila. This is due to the transport strike and the expected inclement weather brought about by Typhoon Doksuri.
Another pump price hike is to be implemented this week. Oil companies such as Clean Fuel and Sea Oil will implement 1 peso and 35 centavos per liter increase for gasoline and 45 centavos more for diesel. In separate advisories, Petrogas, Caltex, and Jetty announced the same price adjustments. Meanwhile, kerosene prices for Sea Oil and Caltex will be adjusted by 35 centavos more per liter. Industry sources say that the price increase is due to mitigations on oil production in Russia and Saudi Arabia.
The National Telecommunications Commission, or NTC, records estimated 104 million registered SIM cards on the eve of its deadline tomorrow. JD Mahinay tells us more.
Tomorrow will be the end of the nationwide subscriber identification modules, or SIM card registration. The SIM card registration is under the signed law RA 11934 to combat scams via text and online messages. According to the National Telecommunications Commission, or NTC, there are 104,076,843 registered SIM cards as of July 2023. This is an equivalent of 61.74% of the overall 168,016,400 subscriber base. Less than 40% are still unregistered in the country. NTC and the Department of Information and Communications Technology remind the public about the deadline on July 25th, 2023. According to the agencies, unregistered SIM cards will automatically be deactivated on midnight of July 26th. Meanwhile, DICT will provide deactivated SIM card owners a 5-day grace period to reactivate their SIM cards. Early this April, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. green-lighted a 90-day extension for the SIM card registration that adjusted the original deadline of April 26, 2023. JD Mahinay reporting for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Pag-asa records that Typhoon Agila, or internationally known as Doksuri, will develop into a super typhoon by Tuesday. The State Weather Bureau spotted the center of the eye of Doksuri at 500 kilometers east of Baler, Aurora as of 5 p.m. Doksuri is moving north-northwestward at 10 kilometers per hour with a maximum sustained winds of 155 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 190 kilometers per hour. Pagasa's forecasts that rainfall are generally higher in elevated or mountainous areas. In addition, Doksuri may also enhance the southwest monsoon, bringing occasional monsoon rains over the western portion of central and southern Luzon and Visayas in the next 3 days. The State Weather Bureau raised storm signal over 9 parts of the country, 8 in Luzon and 1 in Visayas. Meanwhile, storm signal number 1 is raised in other places in Luzon and Visayas. Residents are also advised to be alert on the possibilities of flooding and rockfalls in the said areas.
The Department of Energy, or DOE, is well prepared to tackle the challenges of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s second year in office after implementing successful reforms in the energy sector during his first year. The DOE releases a summary of its major accomplishments in the energy sector. They managed to keep the lights on despite predictions of power interruptions by ensuring adequate power supply through cooperation with power concessionaires. The DOE is also working towards renewable energy use, recently awarding contracts for the Green Energy Auction Program 2 and offshore wind contracts. President Marcos even renewed the Malampaya service contract and allowed drilling activities in various areas to boost gas production. Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman says that since assuming office, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has led the Philippines toward remarkable growth with his numerous reform initiatives. Secretary Pangandaman praises the president's hard work and identifies making the country an investment hub as a significant achievement. She highlights the administration's commitment to prosperity, noting the improvements in economic growth, basic commodity prices, and employment figures. The government aims to achieve a 9% poverty rate and a 3% national government deficit to GDP ratio by 2028. They also aim for less than 60% national government debt to GDP ratio by 2025. The secretary adds that the Marcos administration seeks to transform the Philippines into an upper middle income country.
In preparation for the 2023 State of the Nation Address, or SONA, congressmen discussed their expectations for President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s speech. Congressman Richard Gomez explains that the SONA is a mandatory speech where the president reports to Congress his accomplishments and plans for the next fiscal year's budget. He highlights the promises fulfilled by President Marcos Jr. in the past year, particularly in areas like agrarian reform. Congresswoman Jazel Victoria Yu anticipates more infrastructure projects, especially in her province of Zamboanga del Sur. As the president also serves as the Secretary of Agriculture, the Marcos administration's agenda extends to the provinces, with initiatives like Barangay Bagsakan centers offering standardized selling for farmers' produce. Congressman Jude Asidre expects the president to continue focusing on the same priorities as the previous year, including good governance, agriculture, and private-public partnerships.
The 24-member Senate convenes for the second regular session of the 19th Congress, with Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri leading the session. During the session, the Senate aims to pass priority bills including the Public-Private Partnership Act, Internet Transactions Act, and the revitalization of the salt industry. The senators are also focused on improving government services through bills such as the E-Government Act and Ease of Paying Taxes Act. They are also committed to increasing workers' wages and upholding the country's sovereign rights over the West Philippine Sea. After the ceremonial opening, the senators proceeded to the House of Representatives for President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s second State of the Nation address.
Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri expresses optimism about the current state of the Philippine economy and politics under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s administration. The country's GDP reaches 6.4% in the first quarter of 2023, and Zubiri expects it to grow further. He says it could possibly reach almost 7.5% by the end of the year, more than the administration's target range of 6 to 7%. The Philippines has garnered positive attention from the World Bank and International Monetary Fund, solidifying its position as a stable democracy and an attractive investment destination. Despite external challenges, Zubiri praises the president's hard work and gives him a rating of 8 out of 10 for his performance. Coming up, join us as we analyze President Marcos' State of the Nation address.
Malaking tulong ang Kadiwa Store.
Stay tuned, Mata ng Agila International will return for more global news.
Siya. Scholar ng bayan kaya to. Mahilig siyang magbasa ng libro. He likes to write on his journal and paint too. Para malaman kung sino siya, abangan nyo dito lang sa Net 25.
Ibigyan kita ng 1 milyon. Layuan mo ang anak ko.
Sige o, inyo na yung anak nyo.
Huwag mong makakawalan yung ortig mo kahit ano mangyari!
Ano ang Tagalog ng nape?
Bato! Ipakita niyo sa akin ang lakas at galing niyo.
Akin to. Ako unang nakakita, kaya akin to.
Sa'yo na pera ko, lahat yan, keep the change. Hindi po, wala din kaming barya.
Wala akong babae.
Bakit walang pusa sa computer siya? Bakit? Kasi madami dun mouse.
Sa di sinasadyang pangyayari.
Malapit na ako.
Unang pagkikita,
Tapos na ako, pagod na ako, di ba?
Sana, nandito na yung maliligaw mo.
Mas siksik sa pranks at practical jokes na magpapahappy sa buong family.
Will you marry me?
Hindi, ito po yung mga bagong uso ngayon na pandili.
Maraming bagong paandar at gimmick na sigurado magustuhan nyo.
Umayos ka. Dali mo lahat ng gamit. Ayun na yung kitang makikita dito, ha?
Recommendation po ba kayo ng magandang shampoo sa kilikili? Ito ko lang po kasi pala mo. Can you massage me?
Wala kayong gagawin dito. Hindi kami nagpapatambay dito para lang magpa-aircon.
Kaya naman, six back, relax and enjoy the show mga kaulan. Dahil it's BO na with yours truly, Joey De Leon, tuwing Sabado, alas 8 ng gabi sa Net 25.
It's B.O. It's B.O.
Best Public Affairs Program. And the star goes to Open for Business Net 25.
It is a signal to the world that we are open for business.
Open for Business with Cesar Vallejos. Every Sunday, 9 p.m.
darating ang taong masasabi mong tunay na kaibigan.
Yep! At kapag siya'y natagpuan na, huwag mo nang pakawalan.
Ang tunay na kaibigan, laging nandyan kahit kailan.
Handang gawin ang lahat, maging happy ka lang.
Gagawin ang Afro Song para sa'yo, para sa pamilya, at para sa bayan.
Tulad na lang ng inyong mga bagong kaibigan.
Tuwing umaga,
Love,
Tony Pet
and everything!
Lunes hanggang Biyernes,
6:30 ng umaga
sa Net 25! Let's get everything! Love Tony Pet and everything! Love Tony Pet and
Welcome back to Mata ng Agila International. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. reiterates the country's independent foreign policy. He quotes that the country's ideology of a friend to all and an enemy of none has proven effective. The president notes that the Philippines forged strategic alliances with its traditional and newfound partners in the international communities. Under the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, a multilateral trade arrangement is set with ASEAN nations and other countries such as Australia, China, Japan, and New Zealand. The president adds that economic missions like foreign trips to promote the interests of the country yielded an estimated total investment value of $71 billion or 3.9 trillion pesos and generated 175,000 jobs. Meanwhile, the country's tourism thrived as the president dubbed it revenge travel. He emphasizes that the tourism
Entire year.
The Philippines continues to address the effects of climate change, including responding to the laid out action plans. This was one of the speeches delivered by the president during his second State of the Nation address, despite the ongoing challenges faced by the country. Erlo Bringas tells us the story.
The Philippines continues to experience the effects of climate change, which worsens year after year due to the impact of calamities. In President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s second State of the Nation address, he acknowledged that the administration is addressing the effects of climate change in the country. According to him, aside from implementing sustainable agricultural programs, it is also necessary to focus on a response to the country's changing climate.
The building blocks of progressive, livable, and sustainable communities will never be complete without appropriate and responsible action to mitigate and to adapt to the effects of climate change. We can never lose sight of our responsibility to the future. The economic agenda cannot and will not ever be incompatible with our climate change agenda. Climate change is now an important criterion in our integral national policies, in planning, decision-making, up to the implementation of programs.
President Marcos further emphasized in his speech that addressing climate action plans can greatly contribute to the country's economy. The nation must learn from past calamities that have devastated various areas, especially the livelihood of many. One of the ongoing solutions being addressed by the administration is finding ways to protect our fellow countrymen living in vulnerable areas that are frequently affected by flooding and calamities.
The potential advantages of such enlightened policies extend to jobs and livelihood, with the unlocking of the development of the green and blue economies. We have learned many painful lessons from past disasters, but we continue to be alert and prepared in our disaster response. It has in fact been commented that sometimes we are over-prepared for such natural disasters.
The administration is also committed to reducing the country's carbon footprint to protect our environment.
We remain committed to global decarbonization goals and the reduction of our carbon footprint. We preserve and protect the treasure that is our forests. Their value to the environment, to the ecology, and the economy is incalculable.
The president continues to encourage the private sector and the entire Filipino population to work together in reducing the effects of climate change.
Kakailanganin natin ang tulong at kakayahan ng buong pamahalaan at ng buong bansa. And so we shall do the same for the next 5 years. We seek not only to become more effective, but more, to become truly transformative.
Erlo Bringas reporting for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
During the 2023 SONA, President Marcos highlights the importance of structural tax reforms, which would make the Philippines more business-friendly towards foreign investment. Marcos asserts that in order to create investment opportunities, the country must first nurture the business environment within the country.
A progressive and rationalized system of taxation is a component of the ease of doing business. The CREATE law has made our corporate tax and incentive schemes equitable and business-friendly. There are more structural tax reforms that must be introduced to allow us to reach our socio-economic targets.
He also encourages the government to fully embrace digitalization to provide better service to the people. The president outlines the advantages of digitalization when it comes to streamlining of government efforts and optimization of government processes.
Digitalization will support the government's data-driven and science-based planning and decision-making. It is the greatest, most powerful tool, not just to improve the ease of doing business, but also against many forms of graft and corruption.
Afterwards, he highlighted the importance of digitalization when it comes to foreign employment and service to migrant workers. He highlighted the importance of migrant workers to our economy and how it is the government's duty to be able to ease the experience for OFWs. He also wishes that foreign employment opportunities be out of choice and not out of necessity.
It is our wish that one day, foreign employment will be driven by choice, not by necessity. It remains a noble calling that our OFWs have answered, requiring great sacrifice from them, their families, and their communities. We are engaging with our partners in the international community to ensure a safe working environment for our countrymen. And as we do so, we are also putting in place responsive mechanisms for the social welfare, repatriation, and reintegration of our returning OFWs into the Philippine economy.
After thanking the migrant workers, the president also pointed out several opportunities for foreign labor opportunities.
Several countries have also signified interest to explore bilateral labor cooperation with the Philippines in the areas of healthcare, tourism, hospitality, engineering, construction, and information technology. Recently, we signed agreements with Singapore, Austria, and the province of Alberta in Canada.
Pointing out that safety and job security will be put first in his administration in the coming months.
President Marcos Jr. also highlights the government's accomplishments in the agriculture sector. He reiterated that in recent months, there has been a decline in commodity prices in various sectors, especially in rice, meat, fish, vegetables, and sugar. He then highlighted the Kadiwa stores, which aim to boost the country's local agriculture production through consolidation, modernization, mechanization, and improvement of value chains. With more than 7,000 Kadiwas held throughout the Philippines, 1.8 million families have benefited from the low price of goods. In total, they sold almost 700 million pesos, which provided employment to the members of more than 3,000 cooperatives and associations. They will also extend Kadiwa to the entire country, where government agencies have recently joined forces to further strengthen Kadiwa. PBBM gave a stern warning against smugglers and hoarders of agricultural products, saying that their days are already numbered because they manipulate the price of agricultural products and one of the reasons for the price increase. President Marcos Jr. restated the Agrarian Emancipation Act, which he thanked the legislators who enacted the Executive Number 4 since his first SONA. Because of this, the 57 billion pesos debt borne by more than 600,000 beneficiaries has been completely erased. President Marcos Jr. also urges the Congress to create a water resource management department. He considers its fundamental importance and that water security deserves special focus. PBBM added that they have allocated 14.6 billion pesos for water supply projects, which will benefit communities all over the country. Recently, the water supply of NCR and Rizal received a significant boost from the first phase of the Wawa Bulk Water Supply Project, where the water supply will increase as the project enters the second phase.
Isa sa mga dahilan ng pagtaas ng presyo ay ang mga smuggler, mga hoarder at mga nagmamanipula ng presyo ng produktong agrikultural. Hinahabol at ihaabla natin sila. Sadyang hindi tama ang kanilang gawain at hindi rin ito tugma sa ating magandang layunin. Pandaraya ang kanilang ginagawa. Napapahamak hindi lamang ang mga magsasaka, kundi tayo rin mga mamimili. Kaya hindi natin papayagan ang ganitong kalakaran. Bilang na ang mga araw ng mga smuggler at hoarder na yan.
Up next, people rallied in the streets of Bangkok to protest Pita Limjaroenrat's defeat. Spain's parliament is divided following the weekend snap election. And wildfires have driven tens of thousands of people off the Greek island of Rhodes. Mata ng Agila International will be back with more global news. Stay tuned.
This portion is brought to you by Robic Builders.
Abangan sa counterpoint.
Kailangan kasi ma-deliver mo muna yung fact sa mga tao unless your opinion is needed.
Model at beauty queen. Sa dami ng kanyang ginagampanan, sino nga ba si Emma Tiglao?
Muntik na ako mag-stop ng college. Meron pang time, Attorney Sal, dapat magsa-stop muna for one sem. So what I did is nangutang ako.
Nabayaran
kasi,
mo ba?
Nabayaran, Attorney Sal, kasi yun yung pinanalunan ko for Mutya ng Pilipinas.
Ngayong Miyerkules alas 10:30 ng gabi, dito lang sa Net 25. Ito bang arbitral ruling na iginawad pabor sa Pilipinas? Never na i-implement. Kaya yung tagumpay natin, hungkag, hindi ho totoong tagumpay.
Consumers worldwide could be facing higher prices for rice after India announced a ban on several varieties of rice. The world's largest rice exporter fears it could have a domestic shortage of rice in the coming year and wants to keep prices in that country down. Jay Suarez has the details.
The ban couldn't come at a worse time. The world is already facing food insecurities that have been made worse by Russia pulling out of an agreement to allow grain exports from Ukraine. India supplies 40% of the world's rice exports. Other major exporters, such as Thailand and Vietnam, won't be able to make up the shortfall. The countries that will feel the effects the most include African nations, Syria, and Pakistan. It's unlikely Indian politicians will have the appetite to reverse the export ban anytime soon. Rising food prices are a major issue, and the country will be holding state elections later this year, to be followed by national elections next April. Coupled with the effects that climate change has had on crop yields, it looks like consumers will be in for some sticker shock when they go to buy rice. Jay Suarez for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Hundreds of people rallied in the streets of Bangkok to protest the defeat of a reformist leader's bid to become prime minister. The military and pro-royalist makers or lawmakers blocked Pita Lim Rat from leading the country. Jane Kathleen Gregorio tells us more.
Demonstrators in Thailand, wearing raincoats and holding umbrellas, braved the rain to express their anger. Pita Limjaronrat's Move Forward Party won the most seats in last May's elections. But on Wednesday, lawmakers suspended him from parliament, which then refused to grant him a second vote to become prime minister. To become prime minister, a majority of both houses of parliament must approve the candidate. The sitting members had been appointed by the former military government. The protesters say they will keep fighting, saying they have to support democratic principles. Parliamentarians will hold another vote Thursday to decide on a prime minister. Jane Kathleen Gregorio for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is recovering in the hospital after being fitted with a pacemaker Sunday. Hours after the surgery, the 73-year-old politician released a video statement in which he said he felt fine. Julian Bunag reports.
This is the hospital in Tel Aviv, where Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's procedure took place. A week ago, he had been hospitalized briefly for what was described as dehydration. At that time, doctors put him on a monitoring device, which indicated the need for a pacemaker to regulate his heartbeat. Netanyahu says he plans to be in a parliament Monday as debate continues on his controversial judicial reform package. Since the beginning of the year, tens of thousands of Israelis have held weekly protests against the reforms that they say will erode democracy. The reforms would give parliament more control over how judges are selected and curb the powers of the Supreme Court. Julian Bunag for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Anti-government demonstrations in Peru continued over the weekend. Protesters and police clashed in the capital of Lima. Arlene Ocampo reports.
A march by hundreds of people in Peru began peacefully on Saturday. But as the demonstrators reached San Martin Square, they clashed with police who tried to stop them from entering it. Riot police armed with batons and shields fired tear gas at the protesters. According to local media, at least one person suffered serious injuries after being beaten by police. A first-aid volunteer and police officers sustained minor injuries. 3 people have been arrested. The demonstrators are demanding that interim President Dina Boluarte step down and hold elections. Boluarte has been in office since December after the ouster and arrest of former President Pedro Castillo. Since then, the country has endured months of nationwide rallies that have left almost 50 people dead. The latest round of protests began last Wednesday. About 4,000 people took to the streets demanding accountability for the protesters' deaths. More demonstrations are planned for Friday, which is a national holiday celebrating Peru's independence from Spain in 1821. Arlene Ocampo from Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
The center-right Popular Party has beaten Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez's socialists, but will need several junior parties to govern. Andre Villanueva has the details.
Spain's opposition right-wing Partido Popular won Spain's snap general election with 100% of the votes counted, but still falls short of a parliamentary majority. The PP and Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez's Partido Social Obrero Español had 33.1 and 31.7% of voting shares respectively. This would give the PP and leader Alberto Núñez Feijóo 136 seats in the 350-seat lower chamber, the Congress of Deputies. The far-right Vox, which offered to partner with the Partido Popular, was projected to win 33 seats. But even with the 169 seats, the Partido would still be 7 seats short. The radical left-wing Sumar which brought together 15 small leftist parties and backed the socialists, won 31 seats, giving their alliance just 153 seats. The two Catalan pro-independence parties saw their number of seats fall, but may still play the role of kingmaker if Sanchez tries to stay on as prime minister. Sanchez celebrated the results as the socialists had won more seats and a higher percentage of votes than in the 2019 election. He told supporters that the projected win of the conservative and far-right bloc had failed. Henry Villanueva for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
As the world worries over debt and inflation, high school students in a city in Texas get very timely training. Local banks and community groups teach these young individuals how to manage money as early as now to prepare for a good future. Jessica Isidro Lopez has that story.
They say the children are the future, and what better way to prepare them for adulthood than by teaching them how to manage money wisely. Here in Corpus Christi, Texas, local banks and community groups have come together to give high school students a head start on managing their finances.
A leadership Corpus Christi group came up with Finance 101, and when we started looking at it, one of our board members suggested that we get in touch with last year's committee. And with the help of quite a few volunteers from different parts of the community, we were able to bring together students to learn more about what they need to know in financial literacy to be successful once they graduate from high school.
Our volunteers are in the classroom from Raleigh Credit Union and Coast Life Credit Union, and so these are all financial professionals who are teaching the junior achievement curriculum. The financial fitness of our young adults is really important, and it's something that we don't always teach well in the public school system. So we're trying to supplement what they're learning either at home or through the school system and help them avoid making a lot of the mistakes that we made when we were younger.
Sometimes it can be overwhelming, and our job over at Del Mar College, when we talk to prospective students, is just to kind of make it easier for them to understand, like financial aid, scholarships, or maybe benefits they may be entitled to because their parents serve in the military or they have siblings or whoever that help them pay for school. As long as you understand how these finances work, how the scholarships work, how it applies to your account, that really makes your life a little bit easier down the road as far as make sure you don't have to struggle.
All of us today will be giving away 5 $1,000 scholarships given away by Raleigh Credit Union, and 2 $500 scholarships will be given away by Driscoll Health Plan. So together we'll actually be contributing $6,000 in scholarships today for all student participants for Finance 101.
The Finance 101 Teen Seminar is a product of Leadership Corpus Christi Class 50. My small committee last year put the project on, and we wanted to continue the tradition. So we partnered with Junior Achievement this year, this curriculum that's very engaging, it's very interactive, and this program actually can be done any time of year. Junior Achievement just needs more adult volunteers to get trained in the curriculum and then go right into the classroom. And we are looking for partners for next year to bring the Finance 101 Teen Seminar, make it bigger and better, and grow it even more to reach all students and all the high schools, as well as college students that are wanting to learn more about their financial literacy.
Today I went to Finance 101. Influential thing I learned today was a secured credit card. I didn't know that was a thing. So basically they told me about how I could put money into it, and so it builds my credit, but it's not gonna put me in like crippling debt. And I really learned about how to do like a proper savings account and how to save your money and make it to where you can still live comfortably and have fun without not doing anything.
This is my daughter. Her name's Alea Branch. She's 8 years old, and she came with us today on this journey just because she was curious about what's finances, what is financial literacy. And we sat in some of the classes. She was able to listen to some of the conversations of budgeting. I think we're trying to set a foundation for her about money and what budgeting and money means.
In Corpus Christi, Texas, Jessica Isidro Lopez, Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
The sky in eastern France is festooned with hot air balloons. Rani Bayuga has the details.
The Mondial Air Ballon is billed as the world's largest hot air balloon gathering. It comes 240 years after the first manned flight in an untethered balloon. The event takes place every 2 years and runs for 10 days. Some 700 balloon pilots have registered. Twice daily, at sunrise and sunset, Mass flights are launched where hundreds of balloons are sent aloft simultaneously. The event broke a world record on the first day, when 456 balloons took off at once. About 500,000 visitors are expected to take in the spectacle. Ronnie Bayuga for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
At least one person is dead after part of a bridge collapsed Sunday in western Greece. 8 others suffered injuries in the accident near the port city of Patras. JC Yumul reports.
Ambulances took the injured to hospitals. The bridge in western Greece gave way over the lunch hour. It has been closed since last week and had been undergoing renovations when it came tumbling down. The reason for the collapse is not immediately clear. Rescue crews are digging through the rubble looking for survivors. Some 35 firefighters and 12 rescue vehicles responded to the scene. The Athens News Agency reports police arrested 3 people Sunday evening during the rescue efforts. One is the project security officer and the other 2 are workers at the site. JC Yumul for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
A bus crash in the South American country of Colombia has left at least 9 people dead and 30 others injured. Angel Membrera has more details.
The incident happened Saturday in Colombia's northern region. The bus had been traveling along a road near the Venezuelan border when it went out of control and plunged into a ravine. The injured have been taken to nearby hospitals. It's not known what caused the driver to lose control of the bus. An investigation is underway. Local media reports most of the passengers on the bus are migrants from Venezuela trying to reach the United States. Angel Membrera for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Wildfires have driven tens of thousands of people off the Greek island of Rhodes as terrified tourists scramble to get home. The island of Rhodes is one of the most popular tourist destinations in Greece. Thomas I. Likeness has the details.
This is how the flames from these wildfires have been lighting up the island of Rhodes. The blazes have sparked the country's largest ever wildfire evacuation. A Greek police spokeswoman says some 30,000 people have been evacuated. Rhodes attracts hundreds of vacationers from Britain, Germany, and France. As the flames encroached the resort area Sunday, people fled, with some having to leave their belongings behind. Some tourists and locals ended up spending the night in gyms, schools, and conference centers. The Greek government and embassies in Greece set up a station at the Rhodes airport to help tourists who lost travel documents in the scramble to escape. Authorities say it will take several days to contain the blazes. A large part of the island is in the dark after fires prompted the public utility to shut down its local plant for safety reasons. The outlook for the country's hospitality industry for the rest of the summer is bleak. All of the big hotels, they're closed now, are unlikely to reopen. That's because the area around them has been completely destroyed, and that's not exactly an inspiring environment for a holiday. Thomas I. Likeness from Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Coming right up, Elon Musk plans to replace the company's iconic Bluebird logo with a letter X. Find out this weekend's biggest winners in sports. And Barbenheimer has an explosive box office weekend. Catch more news in business, tech, sports, and entertainment when we return.
Sinungaling ka! Kasi...
bali yung mismong bus!
Ayoko na umakyat, kayo na lang.
Bakit?
Parang hindi safe eh.
Paano mo naman sabi yun?
Eh kasi tinan mo, ang dami nang nahumugo. 5 points!
Parang kulang na sa tamis, kulang sa anghang ang inyong pagsasama.
Dolce, masyado na tayong matanda sa mga dramang ganyan.
Kung nanggaling yan sa bibig mo, matanda na ako, luma, losyang.
Chicken, adobong baboy.
Alam kong sukang-suka ka na sa adobo ko.
Magbalik yung spark nila sa isa't isa. Di ba?
Love, Boss Leng, and Tali. Tuwing linggo, alas 6 ng gabi dito lang sa Net 25.
Hindi biro ang naging tapatan ng mga B-pranksters ng Oh No, It's B.O. Biro only. Wala namang kuprak sa akin dito, no? Ha? Wala ba? Wala ba camera dito? Kung ikaw ay may hippopotamonstrosas squip-aliophobia. O, ito para maiba lang bago tayo maganon. Spell hippopotamonstrosas squip-aliophobia. Sige, 30,000 pesos. Direk, pwede po bababa lang po yung screen. And this is Not a Game! Agad-agad!
Lalo mo!
Big changes are coming to Twitter when Elon Musk began tweeting his plans to replace the company's iconic Bluebird logo with the letter X. Stephanie Mayo has the numbers.
Twitter's iconic Bluebird logo that the internet age has come to love for over a decade is set to be rebranded and replaced by the letter X. Twitter's new logo is expected to be at par with the futuristic style of Tesla and SpaceX, with Twitter owner Elon Musk known for being partial to the letter X. This was announced by the billionaire on Sunday, also revealing that the URL x.com would now automatically redirect users to Twitter. This is arguably the most stunning change for the social media platform since Musk purchased it 1 year ago. However, Musk had been hinting about such dramatic changes as early as last year, particularly when he was about a week away from officially owning Twitter. He already had plans to change Twitter's name to X and calling it the Everything app. He had also expressed his dreams to create a one-stop shop app similar to China's WeChat, where users could practically do everything from chatting to consuming news to paying rent, booking doctor's appointments, ordering food and car services, and a lot more. Meanwhile, some analysts and users are skeptical of the rebranding, considering the numerous criticisms Musk received ever since he started making big changes in the social media platform. Stephanie Mayo for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Amid labor strikes in Hollywood, theaters are nevertheless booming, with Barbenheimer conquering the box office. Christina Gira has the scoop.
Attracting cinema goers in record-breaking numbers, the movies Barbie and Oppenheimer exploded with success in theaters, raking in a combined $235.5 million domestic and more than $511 million worldwide. As of Sunday, Greta Gerwig's Barbie from Warner Brothers grossed a domestic opening of $155 million, with $182 million worldwide, while Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer from Universal Pictures made $80.5 million domestically and $93.7 million worldwide, surpassing expectations in one of the strongest debuts for a biographical drama. The simultaneous release of two of the year's most anticipated blockbusters, collectively known as Barbenheimer, came in at $301.6 million, making it the fourth time in the industry where the domestic marketplace for all stateside titles has been greater than $300 million. This unprecedented success marks the first time in Hollywood history that two films opened to more than $100 million for Barbie and $50 million for Oppenheimer at the U.S. box office. Barbie achieves multiple records, including the largest domestic opening of 2023 and biggest opening for a female-directed film in the U.S. Gerwig, the Oscar-nominated director of Lady Bird and Little Women, put Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling front and center of this meta quest for self-discovery in the real world. While Oppenheimer, on the other hand, is adapted from the Pulitzer Prize-winning book American Prometheus, is a gripping character study about theoretical physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer similarly sets milestones as filmmaker Christopher Nolan's third highest grossing opening weekend globally and the biggest global day and date opening for biopic. Both films have been well received by critics, scoring over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Christina Aguirre reporting for Matana Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
In sports news, it was a weekend of triumph as Leon Marchand, Jonas Vingegaard, and Max Verstappen are victorious. Bernadette Manuel has the score.
In the Hungarian Grand Prix, Max Verstappen has cruised to another victory as he reeled off a record 12th straight win for Red Bull. Verstappen crossed home with a massive 33.7 seconds lead of McLaren's Lando Norris with his Red Bull teammate Sergio Perez in third place. With the feat, Verstappen won his 7th successive victory, 9th in 11 races this year, and 44th for his career. His Red Bull team, meanwhile, has won his 12th consecutive win, breaking the old record they had shared with McLaren, who won 11 straight races in 1988 with Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna as their driver pair. In 2023 Tour de France, Denmark's Jonas Vingegaard has won his 2nd straight tour. The world's greatest bike race provided tense drama as Vingegaard and Pogacar remained separated by mere seconds until the Dane edged ahead with a sensational individual time trial. The Danish rider of the Jumbo-Visma team crossed the finish line after the 21-day race with 7 minutes and 29 seconds ahead of Slovenia's Tadej Pogacar. Vingegaard seized control of the race over 2,116 miles with 8 mountain stages across 5 mountain ranges. And in swimming, France's Leon Marchand breaks Michael Phelps' last individual world record in 400-meter individual medley. This after the French star won gold at the World Aquatics Championships in Japan with the retired Michael Phelps watching along. Marchand broke the record with a time of 4 minutes and 2.50 seconds, beating Phelps' record mark of 4 minutes and 3.84 seconds, which he set at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Phelps won 28 Olympic medals throughout his career, with 23 gold medals, which is the most ever. The 21-year-old Marchand, meanwhile, is eyeing Paris Olympics, where he will likely be the favorite in the 200-meter individual medley. Bernadette Manuel reporting for sports in Matanang Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Oh, what a Monday. What do you say?
What a Monday. I forgot it was Monday.
Exactly.
There's so many things happening.
So true. To start the week, here's a quote from the 12th President of the Philippines, Fidel V. Ramos, during a 1990 State of the Nation address. As always, our people would rise from the rubble. We would shake off the dust and wipe the tears. And while we mourn our losses, our hope for the coming of a new day never dies.
That's amazing. You know, we as Filipinos really just have to work hand in hand, be fearless in expressing what we feel we deserve, and also take that chance in grabbing different opportunities to make our country a better place.
That is so true. And we Filipinos have always been known for being resilient people.
I agree, and I agree that we are. And that's a wrap for tonight's news. Catch the latest updates on our social media channels. I am Gianna Llanes.
I am Nina Richie Alago Flores. This is Mata ng Agila International, Trusted Connected on Point.